Hey everyone, and welcome. So, you're getting ready for that first big job interview, right? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to walk through the ultimate interview playbook. Think of it as your step by step guide to walking in prepared, feeling confident, and showing them that you are, without a doubt, the strongest candidate in the room. Let's be real for a second. An interview can totally feel like the final boss battle in a video game. The pressure's on, your palms might be a little sweaty, you just want to make a great impression. But here's the secret. It's not about luck, it's all about strategy. And with the right preparation, we can turn that intimidating challenge into, well, a confident walk in the park. So here's our game plan. We're going to break this down into 4 key stages. First up, setting the stage. This is everything that happens before they even ask you a single question. Then we'll hit answering the questions, which is, the heart of the interview. After that, we'll cover turning the tables, where you get to ask the questions. And finally, the grand finale, how to end everything on a real high note. Okay, let's dive right into our first section, setting the stage. This is all about making that killer first impression, and believe me, it starts way before you even sit down in that interview chair. Here is your 3-part checklist for a powerful first impression. First, the pre-visit. Seriously, if you can, do a dry run. Drive there, take the bus, whatever you're going to do, but do it at the same time of day as your interview. This is all about eliminating surprises on the big day. Next, you gotta nail the greeting. Solid eye contact, a genuine smile, and a firm handshake, it really goes a long way. And finally, small talk. It might seem like nothing, but it's your first chance to build a real connection. Just follow the interviewer's lead and lean in a little bit to show you're engaged and interested. So, the biggest takeaway here is this. You are being observed from the second you walk through that door. How you talk to the receptionist, how you sit in the lobby, how you handle that first little bit of chit-chat, it all paints a picture of who you are. Every single moment is part of the interview. All right, let's move on to the main event, answering the questions. This is your moment. This is where you get to really shine and prove you've got the skills and the experience that they're looking for. Now, you're generally going to face 2 types of questions. You've got your standard questions, the classics like, what are your goals? Or so why do you want this job? But then you have behavior-based questions. These are different. They'll ask you to describe how you handled specific situations in the past, because the whole idea is that your past behavior is a pretty good predictor of your future performance. So when you get a classic question like, tell me about yourself, please don't just start telling your life story. Keep it focused on the skills and experiences that make you a great fit for this specific job. For strengths, be specific and tie it back to the role. And for weaknesses, be honest about something kind of minor, but always finish by explaining what you're doing to improve on it. Now, to really crush those behavior-based questions, you need a secret weapon. And that weapon is the proof story. See, instead of just saying you're a good problem solver, a proof story is a quick, specific example from your past that proves it. Stories are memorable, they stick with people, and they will absolutely make you stand out from the crowd. And here's the pro tip. Pick stories that don't just show off a skill, but also connect to the company's values, the ones you found during your research. The easiest way to build a fantastic proof story is by using what's called the STAR method. It's super simple. First, you set up the situation or the task you were dealing with. Then, you explain the specific action you took, make sure you use strong verbs here, and finally, and this part is so key, you share the positive result of what you did. And this just shows you exactly how it works. Let's say they ask about a time you solved a problem under pressure. Okay, situation. The sprinkler system went off by accident at my warehouse job. Action. I immediately got on the intercom, organized all the other workers into teams, and we started moving the furniture out of the way. Result. Because we acted so quickly, we saved over $750,000 worth of inventory from being totally ruined. You see how powerful that is? It's concrete proof of leadership, quick thinking, the whole shebang. Okay, now for a really important shift in how you think about this whole thing. An interview is not a one-way street. It's also your chance to interview them. So in this next section, turning the tables, we're going to cover how you can ask your own smart questions. Asking thoughtful questions like these shows that you're genuinely interested and that you're actually trying to figure out if this is the right place for you. When you ask about a typical day or what success looks like in that role, you're getting super valuable info about the company culture and their expectations. It really shows you're thinking like a future employee, not just some candidate hoping to get a job. It is also so important to know your rights. Under the Canadian Human Rights Act, there are certain questions an employer just cannot legally ask you. For example, they can't ask if you're planning on having a family, but they can ask if you're able to work overtime when needed. Knowing the difference really empowers you. And if you do get an illegal question, you can just politely steer the conversation away by saying something like, well, I'm confident that if I'm hired, I'll be fully committed to performing all the duties of the job. All right, you've made it through all the questions. You're on the home stretch. Now it's time for the grand finale. How you end the interview is just as important as how you start. You really want to leave a lasting, positive impression. Before you even think about walking out that door, make sure you have this info. Asking about the next steps and the timeline shows you're organized, you're proactive. It also gives you a sense of control so you're not just sitting at home wondering what's going on. And definitely ask for a business card so you've got their contact info handy. And now for your final sell. Right before you shake hands and leave, make one last clear statement. It can be as simple as, "Thank you again for your time. After our conversation, I'm even more interested in this position, and I'm really confident I can contribute to the team." Trust me, it can make all the difference. Okay, quick bonus round for you. Sometimes an interview might actually include a lunch or a dinner. Just remember, this is still part of the interview. A few simple rules. Order something that's easy to eat, don't drink any alcohol, and just follow basic table manners. It's just one more chance to show that you're polished and professional. And the very last step happens after you leave the building. A prompt thank you note is absolutely essential. It doesn't matter if it's an email or a formal letter. Just make sure it's professional and 100% free of typos. This is your final impression, so make it a great one. And that brings us to the end of our playbook. Look, by following these steps, you've done everything you possibly can to prove you're the best person for the job. But you have to remember this whole process is also for you. So the final question isn't just about them choosing you, it's about you deciding if they are the right company, the right fit for your future. Good luck out there.